stairs, building a flower. It feels like another sacrifice might be in order. I'd consider it personally significant if yes meant something different from what it sounds like. I find it exciting that we have failed, and would love to disappoint you. Either to play or join in the proper ordinance of learning to play dead. You may condescend to my love, but never pry it from my grasp. No one wants their photo taken, but you're in my house, and I'm in your dimension. Sometimes I want to print out certain pictures and tape them to my wall. Film equipment and peroxide, the inner workings of a season. A timeless place favors inequality. Lately, I've had it with the American Heart Association. Married to the archives, rooted in perspective. The first person I shared myself with is now a ghost. I understood mental illness when you stopped taking photographs. Ask to act responsible whenever in front of your webcam. Maybe that's why one day I still envisioned you going back on meds. The paying up for someone to be taken seriously wasn't what I expected. I've just realized where I'm standing. Did you happen to need anything? My towel stays wet forever in this pavilion where 19-year-olds I've met through the bike polo community are totally spent. Come here. We're playing a game. The first person caught crying loses. The last person caught confused receives a disappointing tap on the shoulder. Don't be sorry. Just be grateful. We're only here to talk prospects. Visitors begin to wonder whether this is a proper place for us to network for good measure. You never got a chance to check out my book. It was called Naked Pictures, a true genteel and bourgeois style. I hear some of y'all are actually into that sort of thing. Stacked DVDs make me uncomfortable, and I will announce whether I'm returning to the Trust Exercise Group later on today. Revenge of the weak, responding with caution. White women get whatever they want in this lifetime, even yours truly. The mistake of designing commitments is rooted in theft before charm. No one finds a union of hands rational, but it remains a monopoly, allowing the well-off, indignant, and helpful all to prove together how coincidences aren't forgotten. You can't absorb all that, the protege said, because you would still expect entertainment. Emotional games, slowly, are making a comeback. A common mistake when installing commitments, to remain undecided at first, a wind of prying, sucking out the hygiene of every opinion. Persuasion? Seductive. Yet there is a breeding standard. Can't read that one. If the drill mud can be recycled, then the damage has been done. Lately, I've felt there should be a seminar on how to shake hands. If you want to keep the illusion of being a visionary, yes, re-enter the New South. No one will ever know you are gone. We do not deserve to leave simultaneously. These windows are tinted as a courtesy, in the same way that magenta bursts of eerie politeness quell fantasy. I don't like it when you walk next to me. I just like taking walks. With no risk or physical form of identification, how does personal responsibility play out in the admiration of a scent alone? The sound of the modem is only rewarding when no one is caught listening, so flip the flat brim once more and I'll see you around. Having no conscience extrapolates the estimation of an unspoken hunger. I wanted to treat you like a prostitute when you left the lab, yet my actions were not made accessible to me. Someone had a baby in October, and I still have not seen this baby. Anything that can be bought can also be replaced. Revealing. See you around. Hidden. I appreciate everything. I'll read this one either. And sure, your lifestyle can be a great platform for people watching. You can come watch the people. Watch the people watch you. If there are belongings you've been meaning to drop off, the measure of a scar's brightness is inimitable. So, what does interesting mean? The act or process of enlarging a hole, a silent rubbing created by removing something. You sure can tell where the majority is from by how they respond to the heat. I've underestimated many things for important reasons. Debt is what connects us all, so draw me but without the stomach. Maybe most of us actually need to start locking our doors for a change. I'm putting together a brochure based around your inability to make decisions. It's a human interest story. I call it Dear Diary. That was from Law, Culture, and Management, part of a bigger series called 200% Profit. I know Steve said I'm an alto saxophonist, but I was for many years, and I had to get oral surgery, so I won't be playing tonight or any night. I also can't smoke, so thanks for bringing up all the great memories, Steve. So yeah, the pictures aren't turning out so well, but it is essential to document everything. Then wicked good times ensue. Assorted silly little antics without going too far. In our correspondence, we discussed a surprise. I'm growing increasingly frustrated thinking about what that means. I anticipated an easygoing experience, just having moved or just moving into. Somewhere looser, stupider, that takes you to the edge, slowly, again and again. So okay, I totally worship luxury. It's pretty much obvious, I need it. And what's the trick to helping everybody else understand? What the hell are you talking about if you haven't followed through with buying anything at all? If you can't afford to compensate, why do you give out advice? If you plan on asking me a million questions I won't answer about the many different activities I refuse to participate in with anyone, you will need to quickly acquiesce. These discussions will not be free. Since you've exhausted my patience, I don't want to waste any more time. We've upgraded furniture in our 2 public rooms. Gone are those unsightly black leather couches in the exposed lounge area. They have been replaced by super comfortable sectionals, and the room with the beds has been rearranged and enhanced with some items from our donors. Don't worry. Everything is still discreet. Two of the old beds are still there. My bed is by the window, and the other is by the entrance. One of the anything goes rooms had to go as it was being misused. No one seemed to be too upset, so everything's still on schedule. Thanks for getting back to me. Basically, my tone of voice is what says it all. I'm not looking for anything serious. I like to have a lot of random, but safe, occasional fun. I'm basically looking for some fun. I work a lot, so I don't have time for anything more than being who I am. I moved here from a small, unimportant place, pretty far away a few days ago. I don't know anyone yet, so that answers your first question. You know what people have been asking me, so no, I'm not fake. And yes, I am real, local, and very new at this whole thing. How about you? What do you like to do? What do you like to be called? I won't tell anyone else, as long as you promise me you're real. I have documents that show I'm pretty safe. I take a lot of safety precautions when disclosing my private information. I sent a photographs that I would like to ask you not to share with anyone. That's me by the marble steps. The rest are from years before with the poor flash from some of my earlier encounters. That was a fragment from Charity Extortion. This will be the last piece. This is called Hypoallergenic. You know, I've always lived around Philadelphia, but I never had seen the Liberty Bell. And I was working at this job recruiting business students for J.P. Morgan. And my coworker, he said, well, you know, what would you show somebody who'd never seen Philadelphia? You know, would you take them to the Liberty Bell? I said, I've never been before. He was like, that's incredible. So he's like, one day after work, we're going to have to go. So we get off around like 7 o'clock, and we get into his Ford Taurus, and we start driving towards Manayunk. And I'm thinking, now this is kind of weird. Like, I know it's like kind of late. Like, I would think the Liberty Bell, you know, it's something you do earlier in the day or something, and not in Manayunk. I kind of trust this guy. So, anyways, he pulls in front of this bar, and it's he's like, here we are. We're at the Liberty Bell. There's a bar called the Liberty Bell. I still haven't been there. CVS. 24 hours. Route 70. Kind of handsome. In a pussy way. They will tear you to pieces. Become a chauffeur. There's no greater joy. Suppressing what works. Passed out at Ripley's Believe It or Not Museum. Acknowledged, not for being a bro. A qualified article of furniture. Subtle values. I will teach you negligence. Turn you into the victim for the sake of understanding. Prodded, becoming a perfect process. Ribbon, sponge cake, circular saw. The regret of intrusion, of suitors, discontented, alluring, your infectious personality. a disease, now sinking, necessary to coexist. Sipping Asti Spumanti, rogue for once, so hold out for now, until reliable again, together, a misgiving. Embarrassed by parasites, impressed by one's intake, more respectable in the long haul as scout or lash. You might have remembered me then less as the sheep, more so as the clone. I lived in University City, listened to Garth Brooks, got wet pretty often. No one ever looked for me. I sprayed everywhere, left my gear on the porch, which became my bed. They assumed I was the bandana tied around the leg of the Wiccan. The co-op was a loser's second home, a place to become what you were, when qualifications rarely mattered. Aerobics VHS is currency. Just barter your way out. If you have the chance of being anonymous, if they sluice out a number, viewed as bright, patient, or weary, ostracized to prevent vanquish. Muscle as entrance fee, motion for sale, not for cheap, but for once. If someone harms no one, do as you wish. Take off unspecified. Our friends, they had a saying. They're probably frigid now. 2013 fringe suckers. Your latex won't buy you out. So forge an interest. Each of us is responsible for her desperation, our precious autism. Even if symptoms would never exist, the lake, for example, there's deception everywhere. Smoother, timely, a vestibule, cutting up a sundress, to pull in misfortune in order to assemble envelopes. Rope in the wind, said by Brooks himself to be the son of fences, could allow virtually anyone the desire to do unconscionable things. The lobby. Don't get me started. I still look at the cuts. After hearing, "We bury the hatchet," to simply breathe is only scratching the surface. Leave me alone with your precious animal money. I'm still painting, technically. Exhilarama's ball pit. DC Fun Zone. Prussian Blue. Virtua Health Center. Reorientation. Savor before squealing, you nimble problem. At the analysts, we can hope to be felt up. When did the bad boy body persona become a latest satisfaction? Stab me where it counts, so I can discover feelings, eventually. A general treatment algorithm. If I drool, you can try and make me stop, or feel encouraged to become a wastebasket for turning 18 in like 2 days. Cell phone towers, if not for the private lake community's automated responses, deserve diverse and thoughtful ways to sever contact with the self, triggered by conciliatory and principled logic. Nancy boy head nods, the bluntness of a spoon, unsuspecting, broken, won't wait for impasse, attempting to encourage, not dismember, a coin engraved on one side with privilege, the other side blank, prompted by reflection, convinced by the subcommunal, a cordial game of affluence. You'll hear from someone with no idea how to provoke anyone. He'll look like me but will appear asphyxiated. Boredom as seldom found impulse, flaccid delineated crackling. Anyone available or looking to experience regret? I have a storage unit in need of an impresario, or one might hope to find a ladder if usage constitutes consent, or another blasé attitude about overexposure, like, hey, it's a miracle. I never thought I'd say this, but let's become associates. Then I could refer to you as partner. Throw some soil in that paltry face, taken out back, made into something. What the crew is requesting has been done before. Give me another flotation device. I refuse to acknowledge being below normal or subpar. That's your job, being our guest and all. Still considering offers, though. When you're kicked out of the session due to inactivity on your account, details will finally matter. The value of imploding, absence of gene silencing, has confirmed no reaction. Attacking the slow play end, ricochet, recourse, saliva, urine, mucus, direct TV. A widespread idea deserves privilege over restriction, appalling support, a lump sum investment, forcibly removed to be turned into a dialogue, persistent hilarious harassment, Route 70, home of the carcass, extreme hardcore smut, pleasurable networking, a focus on safety, Sony Cassette Multimedia Center, the playfully Caucasian arrangement, a serviceable representation. Yeah, I remember brooding in the hot tub, my eyes blurry from the chlorine. I said to my intern, hey, you turned me on to act.